Hi guys. Um, I need to see if there we go. Okay. I'm not saying it's still waiting for me. Oh, I know I'm live. Okay. Am I live? Am I not live? Yep, I'm live. Okay, I'm all by myself. I know that Tiffany is doing a live right now. I know everybody's over there. And Shay had a great live earlier. But I need to, even if I'm talking, hi Carrie, how are you doing, love? Even if I end up talking, by myself, hi Shorty, bang bang, I need to get this done, this series, because I have so many things that I need to get out there, and my health is not well, guys, and I'm gonna go. I'm putting off going to the ER until Wednesday because I've got things that I need to get done until then. I'm supposed to be picking up films to take to another hospital for another thing. I don't even know if I'm gonna get around to doing that because I just don't feel like it. And so, um, I'm worried about, whether or not the cancer's back. And so this would be not be the same cancer. I'm just worried that the cancer is in a different area. And so I'm not trying to seek sympathy. I just want y'all to know that so that when you look at things that I do where I enter text, like when I do the videos, when I write text in, I'm not going to be proofreading and I'm not going to be looking for mistakes because I'm in that much of a hurry. So if there's mistakes in it, where I write something or leave out a word or misspell a word, I don't even care at this point. I just want to get the stuff out there. I've got stuff on my phone, on my computer, on USBs, and I feel that everything should be out there before Don gets out of jail. If Don is innocent, I think he should have access to everything that's been said and done while he was inside. And that's just my thing. It's not a bashing Jody Sue thing. I don't like the fact that she took everything off her channel. And so I've had these things for a long time and I didn't put them out there because they were on her channel, most of them. And she was playing games. You're going to hear me coughing a lot, guys. I'm sorry, I could mute out if it bothers anyone. But she started playing games and she started doing it with, her Facebook, and it was ridiculous. It was like, oh, go back and research, you need to go back and research. So if anybody did and had any questions or concerns, they couldn't ask her. And if they did used anything for content in order to discuss it, then she got mad and started playing games and removing it. And why would you remove stuff that you were supposed to be putting out there in order to help find a missing little girl? And it just rubbed me the wrong way. And that's when I started recording her, when she started playing those games. And so because of my health, um, I feel kind of stressed to get it out there. And so, like I said, I'm just going to slam it out as fast as I can. Um, I hate that I have to put text in when I do a video because the things that are on my phone I can't upload to hi Bob, hi Lip Block. I can't upload through StreamYard from my phone. They just won't let you. So I have no choice but to make those into videos. And then, of course, I have to transform it somewhat, put in the text. Um, because I don't know how to speak over it yet, and I really don't have the time or the energy to learn. And so I just thought I'd be straight up honest with you guys about my health and um, where I'm at. And so when you guys see the mistakes and stuff, just overlook them, okay? And so anyway, where I left off was Dawn, Candus, Andy, Dudley, Jody Sue, and it was all in regards to Jody Sue saying certain things, and I was showing that what she said, and comparing it to what others had said, and so what we're going to look at today is the last bit of what I have clipped. Hi, Wist. What I have, Carrie, would you mind being a mod for me, love? Hi, Izzy Rose. Hi, Linda. But it's the last bit of what I had clipped off of Tiffany's channel, and you guys, have seen that recently, but that's okay. I've got different things that I want to discuss. And like I said, I want to knock it out of the park here so that I can move on and put up the other things that I want to do. And thank you, Carrie. Let me get that done right real quick. There you go, love. And so let's get started here. Let me see if I can remember what I was doing, how I did it. Oh, there's one thing that I want to go over first. If I can pull that up. Let me see, it's in another folder. Is it this folder? Oh, it's not going to do it because that's right. It's a image, and I still haven't learned how to do that. Scott told me, and I want to just go ahead and finish this up. So we stopped last time. I believe we stopped before this one here. If it's a repeat, I can't tell because I've listened to them so much that they all blend together. So I can't tell you if I played this one already, and I should have went through my last one and wrote down which one I had done. But here we go, guys.
And I'm a psychologist, but I do remember.
You don't know if you can co-mod, Lip? You'll do fine, love. I'm sure of it. You're a pro at it. Here we go, guys.
Being told at one point in my life that if you're more visual or more audible, it depends on. So you must be a more visual person.
At this point here, Tiffany's phone, I think it was kind of like roboting a little bit, but I'm not echoing or anything, am I? I don't believe. So I just wanted to let you know that, so in case anybody comes in and they're like, what's up? But let's go, guys. Oops.
Person where you are seeing
ICSI
instead of hearing. So when you recollect, you're actually seeing an image instead of hearing a noise. And there is
it's like I can close my eye. I don't even have to close my eyes, and every part of my life, throughout my life, it plays just like if you're watching a movie.
Okay. Now I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to insert something about Andy. Okay. Now Andy just recently said that he can't do that kind of thing. Okay. That he has to have like pictures and stuff like that to be able to go back in time in his memory bank. And I just wanted to interject that because I know I'm going to forget it later. So let's go ahead.
That's the way my memories are. That's the way things are, and I can hear and I can see and I can remember conversations verbatim and what people were wearing. I mean, I can remember what I was wearing, my makeup, my hair, like the first time I quote met Monster when we were kids. I mean, the conversation down to every detail and word. I mean, it plays verbatim like it's there, Now the past couple of years when my health has went down and stuff, it's different. My memory works a little differently, but everything is still, I mean, even like June 15th, everything plays like a movie for me. It's very visual, but I can also hear the noises, but my brain does not want to deal with that screen.
I
And
wonder
it's
why.
one of the only things I can ever think of in my whole life that it's doing that with. And I don't know why.
That's weird.
There's
That's
not
weird.
that, and I'm a psychologist, but
She also can't remember what Candus allegedly said to her when she came down off that hill. Isn't that funny? You know, the two parts that make her a quote witness, you know, to any of that event on June 15th, she can't actually recall.
I do remember being told at one point in my life that if you're more visual or more audible, you know, it depends on, so you must be a more visual person where you are seeing instead of hearing. So when you recollect, you're actually seeing an image instead of hearing a noise. And there
For
is
me, it's like I can close my eye. I don't even have to close my eyes. And everything, every part of my life, throughout my life, it plays like just like if you're watching a movie.
like a
That's
movie.
the way my memories are. That's the way things are. And I can hear and I can see and I can remember conversations verbatim and what people were wearing. I mean, I can.
She hears conversations verbatim and she can remember, but she can't remember that day, right?
Remember what I was wearing, my makeup, my hair, like the first time I quote met Monster when we were kids. I mean, the conversation down to every detail and word. I mean, it plays verbatim like it's there, you know. Now the past couple of years when my health has went down and stuff, it's different. My memory works a little differently, but everything is still. I mean, even like June 15th, everything plays like a movie for me.
But she can't remember it.
It's very visual, but I can also hear the noises, but my brain does not want to deal with that screen.
It's really odd that her brain doesn't want to deal with that scream, but she made it into, what did she make it into? Right? A shape. But she doesn't want to deal with the scream. Okay, so you say you heard a scream, but what else could you possibly make out of hearing a scream? Like, are you trying to say you can't even remember it anymore? You can't, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense what she's saying, that her brain won't deal with that scream. It just doesn't make any sense.
And it's one of the only things I can ever think of in my whole life that it's doing that with. And I don't know why.
Okay, that one's all on that one.
It's me. I lost sound. The scream of a mom who lost a child stays in your head. Well, Jody, do you think that do you think that if it was an agonizing scream? Okay, so I thought about this too.
This wasn't long drawn out. Like, I mean, I'm sure if you or I had something happen to our kid and it was like the worst of the worst, right? They were gone. When we found them. I mean, this, to me, it would be like, but to me, it wasn't a long drawn out thing. And I mean, I could draw the picture from it, but it was just, I don't know, it was different. It wasn't like a long drawn out super thing, right? Yeah. It wasn't even like the high,
like a high pitch.
It wasn't like that really, but there was something so strange to it. But it's thicker at the end for me. I don't know.
It's thicker at the end for her. I mean, trying to describe us, I can't even speak. Trying to describe, I'm on muscle relaxers, guys, and my bleh, mouth is so dry, and I feel so bleh. But so anyway, trying to describe a scream. How do you, a scream, you know? She puts so much emphasis in trying to describe it. It's just ridiculous. From day one, from the time she did the news interview up until now, it's like she's dissecting it, and it's just weird. You heard a scream. Um, it was loud. It might have sounded muffled, it didn't sound like a dog, but you thought maybe a dog had been kicked and, by the tree trimmer guys. It's just so weird. Her son says animalistic. She switches it up and she's like, no, it's not animalistic. But then she refers to the dog. They go circle. They do a full circle where it's back to the dog again, that didn't get kicked. The daughter says that, they went to the door and listened, and the daughter was first. And, Jody Sue says it's the kids, or I can't remember if it was Jody Sue or her daughter. But anyway, it's mentioned that it's the kids, and they argue that it's not the kids. And then next thing you know, she doesn't tell you all this time that she went outside after the scream to look around. And then later on in other videos, she does state that. She states that she went outside. But in the early videos, she said that, they heard it and then it sounded muffled. And then later on in time, it was added that her daughter thought, that it was muffled. And then later on in time from there, it was, oh, it might have been that, possibly heard a car, possibly was driven off, and then she's like, how is Dawn and all of them thinking, abduction right off the bat? Well, if Jody Sue went and told them that on June 15th, all of what I just said, you would automatically think that. She says that when Candus came down the hill, she was like, oh my, I'm sorry, I heard a scream. I didn't know. You're going to automatically think. And then if she went into more detail, at that moment or later on in the day, of course you're going to go there in your mind. That would just sink the deal for you. Any suspicions that you thought somebody, because that's the first thing anybody thinks when your kid goes missing, is somebody got it, right? I remember being in a store once and my kid thought it was funny to hide from me. I remember it was a fabric store. And, I'm kind of short. So, I'm trying to see over these bolts of cloth and I couldn't see very well. And I'm looking and I see this man walking out the door and he must have been carrying a bag, but his hands were in front of him. And I literally screamed across the store to stop that man. And my kid pops out. Oh, you want to talk about wanting to kill your kid? I was livid. Screamed at her all the way home. You don't do that. You don't ever do that. La, la, la. I mean, I nearly had a panic attack in that store, even after I found out that she was fine. I hyperventilated for a few minutes. She never pulled out on me again. She thought it was hilarious at the time, when she first came out until she saw the condition she had put her mother in. And so I can definitely see if the Wells are innocent, and I have to put that in there because I don't know, where they would go in that direction with what Jody Sue and her daughter said, because Jody Sue says that her daughter told the Wells what she heard, from her own view. And so I wonder what happened to JSB in court today. Candus didn't show up for hers. I'm not sure about JSB in court, guys. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm hoping somebody will come out with that. I listened to Shay's live earlier, and She didn't know either. So maybe somebody will know later on today and tell us. Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Sweet D. And anybody else that I might have missed. Let's get back to this, guys.
I don't know how to explain what I could.
It's okay. I don't want to make you think too hard about it because I know that you struggle to hear it and to recall it. And
But then you got to
it
think,
is
my daughter at this point and my son are still hearing, right? So I don't.
She did? CSI? Why? Wonder why she privated it. Maybe she got in trouble with somebody after she did. Well, I have some things that I'm going to say, and it's probably not going to go over well with many people. But like I said, I'm Team Summer, and it is what it is. And so I tried to get in touch with Cracking Cases today and was going to do a live and invite him on. And I wanted to discuss some things that, he's been discussing, because I have the same. I hear my alarm going off. Somebody's okay. He's got some questions, and there's similar questions that I have. And, like I said, I'm getting off track here and I'm going too fast. I need to slow down because we'll be doing Andy here shortly, and I will have already said everything. But like I said, I gave Jody Sue the benefit of the doubt for a long time, couple months, and tried to help her. Even when I started doing my channel, I indirectly tried to warn her, with what I said, what I did. I gave her advice. I know darn well she listens to me. You know what I mean? I know. And so I know because she's used the same terminology, the same everything right immediately afterwards. And so I can only help people that are willing to be helped. And I can only give advice to people who are willing to accept it. And, you don't have to take my advice, but, I felt very weird even mentioning anything about Andy because I modded for Andy, right? This is why I don't like having wrenches, because it limits the ability to say something. But I wanted Andy to have a voice. I wanted him to have a voice, and I would have treated his channel just like I would treat anyone else's channel. Like, if somebody starts bashing the host, I would delete it. But he came on and he was like, anything goes, any questions go. The very first night we did, we did all protect things that people said against him. The last few lives, it was anything goes, any questions go. And so I privately asked him, I even did in chats, what's the rules? What do you want me to do? Because I felt like we shouldn't talk about his child, and the chat shouldn't either, so that it wouldn't give Jody Sue something to feed off of. And I haven't heard back from Cam CSI, not yet. And but if he does, I will. And so but anyway, I reached out to him and asked him, privately, what were the rules, to let me know before he did a live so that I would know what to do, to protect his channel. And he didn't answer. And so not in that regards. And the when you write somebody and your wording is like several paragraphs long and somebody writes back 2 or 3 words, they're really not wanting to communicate. Okay, so that's what I got. And so after several attempts, at this time he was kind of tight with other creators. And so and he doesn't know me, but he doesn't know them either. And so I started feeling odd being a mod for somebody that's not communicating with me. I just, it's strange. And so I was like, so the last time he went on, I pretty much didn't do anything. I just watched because he did again say that, anything goes, any questions go. And so I stopped. I didn't delete nothing. No, I think I deleted one or two things, but I can't remember now what it was. And upset on that last live. And so that's basically where we're at, Andy and I. So I just wanted to let everybody know. So when I do start asking my questions, everybody knows where I stand. And I've made it very clear that summer is what's important to me. And, I feel for him. I feel for what he's gone through. I'm not interested in his personal life, up to a point. He said last night something along the lines of, how did he put it? His personal life, I'm just going to condense it, okay? I'm not going to word for word it. His personal life isn't, important. It's about summer, and property lines doesn't matter. But yes, it does matter. It damn well matters when your woman that you lived with for 26 years did many videos where she and you were in the car during some of it, threatened people, came right out and said that somebody would, die, lives would be lost, kids would fall off cliffs, don't stick your toe over in my property, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't just the fact of Dobbs and people taking up for Dobbs. It makes a difference where that property line lied at the time, and still does. And I don't agree with what he says, but he may prove us wrong. But according to what is online, and the rest of the property ends in tips and points like shapes of arrows, right? If you look at the other properties, they're not all squared off on that road. You see properties that go across the road into, the other side of Ben Hill. And so, him saying that it was squared off at some time, well, that would mean that, the state doesn't have the right to take away your property unless they go through channels to do so. And you would be aware of it. And the Bernards would have been aware of it, And so whether or not you had an existing driveway doesn't matter. If it crossed over someone else's land, then your driveway is on someone else's land, the beginning of your driveway. And according to what that map shows, it is that case. And so, I think that Dobbs would give a damn that your driveway, might be on his part of the land? No, as long as you guys, came off and treated him well and, left him alone, he would probably have left you guys alone. And the worst that would have happened would have been you would have heard a dog barking and someone playing a guitar. But like I said, am I willing to get in and fight Dobbs' battles for him? No, I'm not. I did call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and I did try to see if he could donate his land after he said that he wanted to. They never called me back. Okay. So I don't know if Dobbs has gone forward with that, if he's forgotten about it. It's not my business. And so I'm not going to make any further. I wanted to know so that I could let him know. And but they never called me back. And that was that for me. And so I made an effort. And so my concern is, now I want everybody to think of this. Everybody has, no, I'm not going to say everybody. There's a lot of us out there that have issues with Jody Sue. Okay. We have issues with what she's done to Summer. issues, what she's done. Some of them, some of the people that are pro Candus, pro Dawn, they have issues over that. Some people are pro Andy and they have issues against her for that. And some people have issues all the way around. Some people just don't like Jody Sue. Okay. I'm willing to give Jody Sue credit where I can find credit. Okay. I'm also willing to put myself in her shoes, as well as Andy's, as well as everybody else's, but you can only do that as much as you know about the person. You can do it in another way where you think, oh, what would I do if I was in that situation? But that doesn't mean what you would do is what someone else would do. You see what I mean? In the beginning, when Jody Sue came around, everybody gave her the benefit of the doubt. Everybody was scared to ask her questions. Nobody wanted to be the bad guy that was the first to start slinging out the the hardcore questions, right? And I feel that's happening with Andy. Um, is Andy being treated the way he's being treated simply because people can't stand Jody Sue? How do we know anything about Andy? We listened to Jody Sue in the beginning, and all of us were sucked. Not all of us. Sorry, I keep trying to catch myself. Many of us, myself included, were sucked in. Okay, I'm not going to be one that turns around 2 months from now and go, Jesus Christ, I did it again. I'm not doing it. I don't care what he says, and I don't care if that makes people mad at me. I don't care. I have $0 where that's concerned. Okay. If he doesn't like having his business put out in the street, he shouldn't have came on YouTube. Now, I was one of those people that wanted him on YouTube to hear. That's what we do. We want to hear. Do I feel that he had a right to speak? Heck yeah. He's gotten trashed for 15 months by her. And so I'm just going to let you guys chat, okay? Because if I look at anything that you guys write right now, I'm going to get off track. And like I said, I'm on that muscle relaxer and my brain is fried right now. And I want to really get this off my chest. And so, and I just lost my train of thought. And so, but that's what I'm saying. I don't care so much about, the Becca, Jody Sue, Andy thing. And I agree with him there. That's not important, as far as Summer's concerned. Is it drama? Yeah. Is it interesting? Yeah. Do I listen to it when he does it or they do it or anyone does it? Yeah, I do. Do I think it helps their kids? No. Do I think when we discuss that, does it help their kids? No, I don't. And maybe Shay privated that today because after she put it out there, she had second, thoughts. And maybe she got a phone call. I don't know. I don't know why she put it out there and then privated it. I had thoughts to record it, but I really don't care. The thing that I found out of that phone call, and I'm going to go ahead and discuss it, was that I asked, before I say that, let me just put it this way. I'm not sure that Andy is being truthful. I can't understand how you could go 15 months listening to somebody trash you and have nothing to say derogatory about that person. That your memory is so vacant that you can't recall even the car that you were driving that day. Jody Sue said that his co-workers and boss would lie to him. And like I said, sometimes I find some truth or lean a little bit Jody Sue's way. Okay. And then I go back. And I'm not in anybody's support group as far as this goes. Okay, even Dawn, I have issues. So I know that you guys think I'm pro Dawn. No, not at all. Do I think he's the less of them all? Yes. And there's reasons for that I haven't gotten to yet. But getting back on the workers, co-workers, bosses, Krama Mama did that phone call. Some people thought it was like, oh, that just backed up Andy. I didn't hear that call that way. I did not hear that call that way. Me? No. If I was sitting on a jury right now, I'd be that one, that stubborn person going, nope, 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 How in the hell could somebody sit there and say one thing at one time and then a few minutes later say it completely opposite? We hear that all the time in this case, where it's, oh, can't recall. Oh, I think they came. I'm pretty sure, can't really remember. It's been a while. Dude, you remember. Okay? Just like Andy remembers. Does any of these people want to incriminate themselves? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're all careful. And I'm not saying the boss had anything to do with it, but I mean, whatever he may have told that day, there is, until LE comes out and tells us that they had eyes on Andy the entire day until Andy got in his car and drove home, then to me, Andy is a suspect. And that goes back to the messages that Jody Sue has put out and what went on the 14th. Okay? And that's why when Andy says all that stuff didn't have anything to do with Summer going missing, it damn well could have. It absolutely could have. It could have been the catalyst for it all. He has said that he can't remember the car he's driving. He can't remember what time he came in. He can't. And the one that really got me was when he said that I might have seen somebody asked him, and see, it was hard for me because I was modding the chat, so I couldn't really hear what was being said. 5 hours in, these long lives, you get tired. You know what I mean? You get super tired reading everybody's words, trying to catch something really bad. It's taxing, But somebody had asked him if he got his information about Summer going missing by Jody Sue. Okay. He said he didn't know, blah, blah, blah. He was talking about that. And then later on, somebody asked him again. And, he said, they asked him about Candus and they asked him a few other things. And then, it was talking about him coming in and he goes, well, I might have seen somebody on my way in that day that told me that Summer was missing. Well, I knew who that somebody was, according to Jody Sue. And that was Candus. And Candus was at Mount Carmel Church. So that means that he saw her there, if that's true. Okay. By him saying, I might have, it's the terminology of how these people speak. They don't commit to anything. I might have, I could have, I'm not sure, I don't really remember. You know what I mean? All of that. Now, Jody Sue said that Andy was like that before Andy came on and started doing his, channel. She told everybody he would be like that. Because she was talking about her own self and her own interactions about Andy, And so, but then a little bit later in that same, it might have been that live, it might have been the following live, he mentioned that he saw Candus when he was coming in, right? Now, Candus was supposed to be on the top of the hill, according to Jody Sue, not down looking for her kid or anything, right? She did say that, she drove down the hill and then she went going to go look for Summer, but that she didn't drive back and forth like Candus had said that she did. She later on, and depending on the version, depending on the live, ended up saying that she was down at Mount Carmel. Now, she wouldn't have known that because she wouldn't have seen that from where she was at. She had to have been told by Candus or Andy that they met up down there. Andy didn't tell us what was communicated between Candus and Andy that day at that church. Now, Jody Sue has also said that, people would go park in the church parking lot and hit up the Wi-Fi. Remember the 609 photo that was supposedly posted on Candus's Facebook? Is that where that was posted from? That church? While she was sitting there instead of driving up and down the road looking for her kid? Is that where she was sitting when she was communicating with Dawn while Dawn was driving home? And was still sitting there when Andy drove in? Because remember, Dawn, so that would mean if Dawn came in the same direction as Andy, that would mean that he came in because it was supposed to be Andy, and then Dawn came in right after. Jody Sue never said if they both came in the same direction. We just assume that. Okay? The reason why I mention that is because when someone else asked Andy about coming in, and she was like, if you came in, you would have passed the shed, trying to catch Andy. And he goes, well, if I came in from Kingsport, and he got a little snappy, right? I wouldn't have passed the shed. So that means there was another way to come in. Okay. Which way did Andy come in? He had to go by Mount Carmel if he saw Candus. Which way did Don come in? He showed us on share if it's true. So if Andy came in first and Don came in right after, Don would have seen Candus. Or did Andy come in, then Candus, then Don? Okay. Jody Sue also made a conversation one time where she said that she was talking about the vehicles that David Dotson drove and Robin and Candus. And she was insinuating that the church had bought Candus and Don's car. Okay. When she came in, she said, when she came in, I told you my brain is not working, guys. You're just going to have to deal with me. And so when she was talking about that, she said that she was shocked because all the vehicles were the same make, same model, just different colors, and they went up the hill, boom, boom, boom. Candus, Robin, David. Okay, now remember what David said about the time that he came in, and Robin had to pack snacks because it might have been all-nighters, and you see what I'm saying? Look back, because I'm going to forget to do this, guys. So I hope somebody will write a note down right now for me and for you to look back at that David Dotson interview and figure out what time frame he's talking about. Okay, what time? And I'm positive it was around 7:00. Okay, something like that. If that's the case, and what Jody Sue is saying about Candus, David Dotson, and Robin all going up the hill, car after car after car, right? Then that would mean that Candus didn't even go back to her hill until that time. Okay, so that's just odd to me too. Okay, because that's supposed to be the time frame that the cops are rolling in, right? Okay. Now, this also bothers me. And I got some notes here that I had wrote down that I was going to talk with Cam about. And I'm just going to go ahead and stop Tiffany's and just finish up here with Andy's. Before I sign off, please remind me to put Tiffany's in Andy's channels in chat, guys, please. I'm curious. Did Andy and Jody Sue both get booted off 125 by Andy's parents? And the reason why I'm curious about that is, again, because of the land, because of what went on the 14th, because of Summer going missing. And there's a reason why I wonder that, and that is, you know those messages where Jody Sue says that her and Andy were sending back and forth together on the 15th of June, 2021, right? Well, I'm not sure. I can't remember right now. My brain is just not working correctly if it was that set of messages or messages later, but at some time frame in messages, she's saying that, and I do have those messages. I just didn't pull them up because I didn't expect to go here. I expected to do it with a live, maybe with Cam, and at a later time. But anyway, she's talking about her son wanting to have the guns to go hunting, right? And to remind so-and-so that they still have things up there that they need to get. And I believe those messages were like in July. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Like I said, I'm pulling from a memory that's not clear right now. So at that point, Jody Sue and Andy were still communicating. Jody Sue's supposed to be terrified of Andy, but yet she's asking for a gun, right, to be around Andy if she was still with Andy at that time. Okay. She was sitting there talking about Don having a gun, shooting off gunshots over there, and he's not supposed to have a gun. Well, Andy either. And if she's terrified, why would she, request Andy to get in communication with someone else for a gun, unless she was trying to trip him up, get him in trouble, have some kind of communication that she could use later on against him, which I'm sure she has done. But the point is if he had followed through with that and got that gun, right, for his son, then that means that Jody Sue wasn't terrified, that he would go out there and blow up the public, shoot people, shoot the next wife, or the next girlfriend, or herself, or her children, because she wouldn't have wanted a gun nowhere near any of them. Okay? She had to be out of the property by September 6th. I'm thinking it was July, but like I said, until I look back at those messages, I can't be for sure. And I just want to make sure so that when someone else, maybe someone new comes in, that, I can't quote you I just remember they were the blue messages that she posted, and I can't remember the exact date. But she was talking about having stuff to get from there. And so it made me think, if she's already left out of there and her and Andy, are having issues, she wouldn't have been communicating with him, Andy hasn't gone back there, to live. And if he was looking for a place to stay and needing help, you would think that he would go back there. he might have his reasons why he didn't go back to 125. Maybe he just didn't like living there. Maybe where they're living now is better. But he was seeking money on his channel to find a camper and get away. And I do understand why he would not want to be in that area that close to Jody Sue, if it's true that they're living 3 hours away. Now, do I care? No, not really. I'm just bringing it up as a matter of fact. It leaves me to wonder, if you're desperate for a place to live, you live where you can live until you can get, better accommodations and so on. It was September. Thank you, CSI. And so there was some confusion, where Andy was supposed to have left right away after Summer went missing. Fred's like, oh, he took off right afterwards. He was gone for almost a month. Jody Sue was like, no, he was there. Well, we do know that he was in and out somewhat because we did see, some videos, where he's in the back seat, or he's in the front seat. You don't know how much of that was put out there, to what point to try to cause problems with Becca. But at the point of those videos, I don't believe that Jody Sue knew that he was going to leave. When you look back at those videos now, I just don't think it. I don't think it at all. She might have known about her. She might have suspected about her, but I don't think she had a clue that he was going to leave or even leave for another woman or whatever. He might have said, I'm leaving, and she was like, oh, yeah, thinking you'll be back. You do it all the time, blah, blah. Who knows? But I think she was blindsided. And that's my opinion. Living with Jody Sue, I don't think has been a blissful arrangement. But when you watch Andy get mad or get angry, we really haven't seen him get mad yet. We've seen him get irritated. His expressions are identical to Jody Sue's. You cannot live with someone for 26 years and not adopt their expressions. I don't think that his parents, if they wanted him off that land, would have evicted him. And if they had, we would see it, in the records, and we don't. But it doesn't mean that they didn't tell him he wasn't welcome to come back there or stay there, But he did have the restraining order. I call it restraining order, guys. It's what we called it back in my day. To stay away from Ben Hill. And Jody Sue brags about that. So he might not have had the opportunity to live there. And he said that he didn't want Becca and the kids at 125. He didn't feel it was safe. I'm sure she does drive by there, CSI. I definitely believe it. I believe that she doesn't feel that she has to follow no rules. All rules, everybody's rules, don't apply to Jody Sue. And we all know that. The woman is so arrogant that she doesn't think she has to do anything that anyone else in the world has to do. Okay? But it just made me wonder, it just made me wonder if I extracted Becca out of the situation, because depending on what he says and her, they weren't seeing each other when he left. But I don't believe that. And that's my personal opinion. Like I said, I didn't really want to get into the personal aspect of it. It's, I don't have anything against Becca. I don't know her. If I was Becca, I would be speaking exactly like Becca. If it was me on the other end, I would have a whole lot to say. I see why she backed out and got quiet so that she couldn't cause more problems for Andy, because by her voicing up on those lives just antagonized Jody Sue even more. And so, I commend her for that, because it's very hard to be somebody new in someone else's life that had a life with someone else. It's really hard. I've been there. And so, okay, I crossed over the, Andy thought he saw somebody, might have been, somebody down at the end of the road thing. Another thing he said that bothered me was somebody asked him if he had been up on the hill on June 15th, and he replied again, I might have went up that hill later on that night. I can't be certain. Can't remember. He can't remember. It's just filled with, I don't know. I can't recall, and it's just too weird for me. You need me, guys? Hang on a second. Let me see if this is my grandson, guys. Nope, it's not. Somebody putting laundry in. All right, so Fred said that Andy could be seen on camera, right? The day that Summer went missing. And I'm going to go back into that in a minute here, but I just wanted to mention that. He's saying that, he was driving a silver car. And I know that some people believe Fred, some people don't believe Fred. I tend to lean towards Fred, Jody Sue tried to make him sound like he was schizophrenic, but she mentioned that about a lot of people in that area, I kind of wonder if she is, to be honest. And so anyway, Jody Sue said that she heard a scream around 4:30, right? Fred said he saw Candus walking at 4:30. Well, Jody. I'm not going to be particular about the 4:30 thing for Jody Sue because she gives herself a few minutes there. It's between, 4:30, 4:42, which I found the 4:42 strange. And she says it's because of those messages that she has that, right? But Jody Sue said that I'm just going to round it off 4:30, guys. Jody Sue said that she heard the scream around 4:30. Fred said that he saw Candus walking around 4:30. Candus told Benny and PG that she thought she came down the hill at 4:30. And that is when she came in contact with Jody Sue in the road when she was searching for Summer. And so I wondered, did Candus, because this series here is about Jody Sue saying that Candus never, about Grandus saying, and Candus, she's trying to put out that they never searched for Summer, right? And that, they automatically assumed that she was kidnapped, blah, 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 which is all in the first part 1. And so I wonder if it's possible that Candus did go looking for Summer earlier in time. Like I said, put yourself in, Candus's shoes. Maybe she had drank a lot of twisted tea that day. Maybe some, popping some pills. Hunter says that Candus didn't drink and drive. Okay. Others have said that Don didn't drink and drive. He got that DUI that night, but there's some underlying reasons why he got that DUI that night. And I'm not going to go into that right now. And but anyway, so did Candus go walking looking for Summer? Did Candus go take Summer somewhere? And the reason why she was seen was because she was coming back, walking. Hence the footprints. Okay. Did Candus go looking for Summer? She was busy in her house. She comes out. She's like, oops, where's my kid? Fell asleep on the couch, comes out. Oops, where's my kid? And she goes looking, it was insinuated that it's happened before, and she would freak out and call Donnie. And she even said that to CM. She's like, that's what I do. I freak out and I call Donnie, right? Hunter said, well, she'll get high and she thinks that, she's lost her kids. And, I'm like, go check out in the yard, and she's like, oh, okay, and she finds her kids. So did she have that happen that day? And instead of, because even Jody Sue said that everyone, her and others, I and others, were shocked that she called 911. Okay. Well, maybe she didn't call 911 right away, like Jody Sue's trying to make it sound. Okay. It could have been that Candus was looking for Summer for quite some time, right? For her kid before they involved 911. Especially if you're buzzing, you're going to, hope like hell you can find your kid, because when you call, you're going to be in trouble. And that might have been why Candus stayed in the house and away from the cops as much as possible. If that had been me, I would have been inside chugging from a bottle of liquor if I had it, to try to cover up the fact that I was already like that before you got here. I would have done something to try to cover up. I would have been standing at the end of the road, let's just say that, if I smelled like a liquor bottle or whatever, And so I would have waited till they got there and said, oh my God, I got to have a drink. I'm going to flip out. I need to calm down or something. And I would have grabbed a bottle and I, tried to keep my distance from them until I got that bottle. Just saying. But did she go looking for Summer and happened to be coming back? And that's when Fred said he saw her. And then, that would mean that she would have just enough time. If he saw her at 4:30, Jody Sue says the scream was between 4 and 4:42, right? Because Jody Sue says that right after, okay, no, we got to skip upwards in time. That she came down the hill at 6:09. And when she came down the hill at 6:09, as she was walking down the hill, depending on the version, their voices increased in intensity. She doesn't say names. She says their voices. And that she dropped the purse and went looking, right? And that it was only seconds, and she snaps her fingers, right? That Candus came down the hill after Jody Sue heard them calling for Summer. That's why Jody Sue says, and that's what she's making us all believe, is that they never searched. And if Jody Sue didn't come down her hill until 6:09, giving her the benefit of the doubt, then she would assume that they were only searching from that point. But then, wouldn't you give somebody the benefit of the doubt when someone says, no, we were looking for her, but she's so hell-bent on trying to tear apart everybody else's statements. And that's what makes her look so guilty. When you sit and you nitpick, I'm nitpicking right now, but I'm not a suspect. I wasn't in the area. I didn't have anything to do with any of it. So I can do that. But when a suspect does that, it really makes them look super guilty. And there's no reasoning for it. You would think that she would have kept quiet and not wanted the attention, And it's just so odd. It's just so very odd. So could she have come down the hill, Candus, at 4:30, 4:42-ish? 4:30, 5 o'clock? Now remember, Andy said in his live that he couldn't figure out why Jody Sue went to the bottom of her hill to wait for him 2 hours early. That struck me. 2 hours early. Now think about what time that would put that at. If it was 2 hours early. If it was 6:09, when she's saying she's going to go to the bottom of the hill, 2 hours early would put it in the 4 o'clock hour time frame. Right? Jody Sue said YouTube was going to eat Andy alive. And she warned him through multiple lives that she did. There were lives that she spoke. The live I just posted today, she's speaking directly to Candus and Andy in that live. That's what she would do. She would just speak to them, through the lives, and so there was multiple lives where she kept saying that, he would be stupid if he came out, blah, blah, blah. YouTube was going to eat him alive, da, 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 da. You can't tell me that Andy didn't watch YouTube all this time. I don't believe it. Curiosity alone and the things that she was saying about him would pull you in. I believe that he didn't miss much of a trick that was put out there on YouTube. Now, whether he did it at home, did it out, I don't know. But I guarantee you, they were definitely watching. And so in those messages on the 15th, she says that she heard a noise, okay? We're led to assume that noise at that time frame, that she writes that, would have been the car/truck noise that she heard from behind the cabin, right? Which would have been on the road behind them. She makes sure to say in different, versions, it was the opposite road, off of Beach Creek, blah, blah, blah. I mean, depending on the live is how she described it. And there's multiple ways that she described it. But that's what she says. So we assume, right, that that's what she was talking about. Wouldn't have been the scream because that was too early. Okay. So at the time that she says that she hears the scream, she doesn't put that in the message at all. And then she tries to tell everybody it's because, she's pissed off at him and she's not going to tell him what all's going on, blah, blah, blah. No, honey. You just had a man that you ran off property the day before. And again, that's why the property issue is so important. You ran a man off the day before. Okay. You admitted to going around town that night searching for him. So obviously, you were concerned about this man to the point that you went hunting him down, trying to hunt him down. I think I'm getting ready to get an update, guys. I hope not. And so, if you're going to hunt someone down the night before, the next day, on the 15th, if you're a hyper vigilant person, you're going to be super hyper vigilant, right? You're going to be like really freaking out. You just pissed someone off the day before, wouldn't you be like on pins and needles all day and all night? I mean, good God, I would be. I'd be sitting on my front porch, gun in hand, waiting for somebody to come back, livid. Dobbs said he went to a motel room, drank beer. He still didn't go back and raise hell. Okay? If that had been me drinking a beer in a motel room, yeah, it wouldn't have went pretty. Not at all. And I'm just being truthful about that. You would have had reason. You would have definitely had reason to worry about me that night if you ran me off of land that I knew was mine and called the law on me. And why would they call the law if they knew the land was being sold? Now, get it. He says he didn't have any papers Dobbs said he had paper, right? So I don't really know who to believe on that. And but he also said that his mom was offering to pay for the motel room for the guy because she felt sorry for him. So it doesn't make sense on that either. You know, I can understand Jody Sue raging so much about Dobbs and everything, but Jody Sue said that he jumped out of the car and went running over to him, blah, blah, blah. And Dobbs said that he wasn't well received. Okay. So now he's saying that it was all over the, Andy's saying it's all over the electrical lines, right? The lights that he cut. I remember Jody Sue saying electrical wires. Then later on, she said he cut through the trail cam wires, right? Then it was she had to get wires, something to do with the wires, and couldn't plug the wires back into the trail cam because of what Dobbs had done. So that trail cam story has changed many, many times. I don't think I've ever recalled it being called electrical lights. Not saying it's not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying I don't recall it. And, I'm going to look for that when I start going through these all these videos that I have. And if somebody else has it, please contact me and let me know, okay? And let me know where to go to look and save me some time. And so when she says that she heard that noise, and we're talking about the car truck door, and then she says that she heard the scream, and that's in the video that I just posted a little bit earlier. That's one of her versions. She mentions, and also here in Tiffany's, she mentions that she hears a flash. I mean, she doesn't hear a flash. I'm starting to sound like Jody Sue. Right after the scream, they go outside the cabin and look around, her and her son. Okay. Well, originally it was when they heard the truck car door. She had to have her son help her go out, and they walked the bank. She never said early on that she went out looking for anything after the scream. Now it's changed, and it's they went outside and looked around, right? Was looking over the bank, didn't see anything. Okay. And then while they were looking about the scream is when they saw the red flash going up the driveway. Okay. So it's all during that time frame. So that would put that at what time? 4:30, 4:42. Was Candus driving at that point? Was Jody Sue in the road at 4:42? 4:42, like Candus said. And that's why she saw the red flash going up the driveway, because Jody Sue and her had already talked. In Tiffany's live, Jody Sue is asking about Grandus's truck, right? I call it a truck, guys. And so, the red tailgate. Well, it came back from Wisconsin like that. Jody Sue, Candus was driving that vehicle on the 15th when Jody Sue came in contact with her on the road, Ben Hill Road, right? No matter what time it was. Candus drove off. She would have noticed if there was a red tailgate on that day. Pretty damn sure of it. Okay. And knowing Jody Sue and how Jody Sue behaves, she said that she heard Candus stop and talk to the neighbors. Well, it's not that far down the road. I'm pretty sure that Jody Sue was looking at Candus drive off. If what happened that day happened as it's been told. And I'm not even sure it happened that way at all. Okay. So Jody Sue has also said that she went up on that hill many, 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 many times because Don was getting all of his information from Jody Sue. So Jody Sue was practically living at the command post, according to Fred and others that I've communicated with that I'm not going to mention. And because they haven't come forward publicly. And so Andy and Jody Sue both, and the kids, they went up on the hill, and Jody Sue would have known if that tailgate had been changed. But she questioned Tiffany as if she had just latched onto something. Oh, do you know, blah, 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 when that tailgate did, blah, blah, blah. So she was trying to make it sound like there's the red flash that she saw that day on the 15th. But it wasn't. What it was is Jody Sue just trying to find some reason because, first everybody thought red truck because she made sure to let you know it wasn't Candus's vehicle because the color wasn't right. But that back of that tailgate would have been right. But it wasn't because it didn't come back. I didn't go to Wisconsin looking like that. Nerdy Attic. I followed Nerdy Attic long before I came to YouTube and started commenting. I used to watch true crime, but I didn't comment. I just watched. Wasn't too into it because, like I said, I was spending most of my time on Instagram, TikTok, places like that, looking for kids being exploited. Summer Wells caught my attention because what was happening, what was being said. She was exploited, possibly, and has been since. Okay. I think Jody Sue has exploited the shit out of Summer Wells and her own kids. And so I watched Nerdy Attic, started following him in the Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito thing. And he posted his drone images and stuff. And so I saw when Candus came to the edge of the hill, I watched it all, all real time when it was happening. I knew when he was in the town, I knew all of that. And so, she comes to the edge of the hill and she screams down that, she's going to shoot him, blah, blah, blah. And so Dawn was at work that day, I believe. But it was her that was screaming, at Nerdy Attic. In those drone images, you can see that the back of that vehicle that Candus's mother drove didn't have the red back on it. All right, let me see what else I have here that I've just jotted down. Okay, this one's probably going to get me in some trouble. I've noticed lately that whenever in CSI, I'm not talking about you, okay? Here, just want to make that clear. And I want to make it clear so that other people don't think that I'm talking about you. I've noticed lately that when anybody starts to bring up Andy, there's a creator that'll jump in and start communicating. Whatever direction that live or chat was headed immediately changes, you know? And then shortly after that, Andy pops in. And then, of course, it turns into, pats on the back for Andy. Okay. I think the same thing is happening to some degree because it's hard to talk about people when there's a whole lot of people who are pro somebody, right? And the only way I can give you an example is to go back to Jody Sue. When Jody Sue was first going on panels, if you said anything about Jody Sue, I mean, the chat would just come at you like seven-headed, snakes, and eat you alive, So everybody was hesitant to say anything. People were hesitant. Now, there's been a lot of people vocal on Andy. Um, you know, you know what I'm saying? They are steadfast. And but in the beginning, now I'm gonna give you an example with Ziggy, okay? With Jody Sue. When Ziggy would have a live, she would start talking about Dawn and Candus. All of a sudden, Green Eyes would pop in the chat, right? He would throw out a couple of things about this person, that person, Jody Sue, whatever. And then Jody Sue would start popping into the chat and she would start, oh no, it's not that way. That's not what happened, or whatever she would say or do in the chat. So the chat would stop listening to Ziggy or whoever, right? And they would all be reading the chat, look at what's going on. Jody Sue's in the chat. And everybody would be going, Jody Sue's in the chat. Jody Sue's in the chat. Jody Sue's in the chat. Well, now nobody's listening to Ziggy, okay? And so Ziggy was pretty much forced to say, you want to come up on panel, and sure enough, Jody Sue was like, hell yeah, jump up on the channel and panel ride. And she would panel ride channel after channel after channel, get off those channels. Bob, I know because I was healing from surgery and couldn't sleep due to pain. And so that's how I watched everything. Okay. And so she would end up getting on her Facebook right after she stopped panel riding, and then she would do a live, and that would be several hours long. And then once, she would usually wait for, sometimes she would do that, or she would later on wait for Michelle to do her live, and then she would piggyback off of whatever Michelle said. And then she got her own YouTube channel, and then she said, screw all you YouTube creators. I don't need you. I'm going to make my own money on my own YouTube channel. Okay. So when she did go on Ziggy's panel and others, but Ziggy would usually have other people on her panel, when she would go on Doug's, it usually was just her and Doug, but on Ziggy, sometimes Ziggy had other people, and Jody Sue would refuse to allow anyone else to speak. She would ridicule others, she would control everything. And I somewhat feel that same thing is happening again with Andy in some regards. And so, because I've watched it on nearly every channel. And this one person pops in, and then it's immediately wherever that channel was going and whatever that creator had planned or was discussing at the time immediately stops. Immediately. And it goes to pro Andy, blah, blah, blah. And so then everybody is like, oh, can't say nothing, can't do nothing because, we're going to look bad. And so I would hope that would stop happening. And I'm speaking out to the person, and I'm pretty sure the person's going to know who I'm talking to. You know, you got your own channel, and if you're invited up on someone's channel, that's one thing. But allow, others to have their own school of thought and your narrative, and how you feel is how you feel, you know, but allow others to be able to have their views and their questions. And, it's a bummer when a channel is going in one direction and all of a sudden it stops, because there's so much that could have been asked and answered and isn't. And so now Andy sounds like he doesn't even want to do true crime. Hon, I get it. You're not a true crimer. Pretty much looks like he started I really don't even know why he started his channel, because I'm just going to be blunt. There's no way I can get around it unless it was for money. Because he came on his channel and we all thought he was going to tell us stuff about Summer, and he struggles to even speak about her. He can't remember anything at all. I get it, dude. You don't want to incriminate yourself, but Jesus Christ. He's had 15 months of somebody talking pure trash, and he doesn't say anything about her. And of course, like I said, he's got that order against him that kind of, keeps him under reins. But when that order stopped, even that time, he pretty much agreed with just about everything she said, even though he was saying at the same time he didn't know anything. He couldn't remember anything. The worst I've heard him say is she exaggerates a little, but he can't give you anything to really, put that out there. There's more to this than meets the eye, guys. And I'm not saying that he's guilty. I'm not saying that Jody Sue is guilty. I'm not saying that Don is guilty. I'm not saying that Candus is guilty. I'm not saying that Grandus is guilty. I'm not saying the kids are guilty, Hunter's guilty, Allie's guilty. But I have questions, because all these people have so many things that connect. All of them. Allie going to Andy's workplace so much, stopping him in the street, to communicate after Summer went missing. It's just odd. It's just odd. Why would she go to Andy if nothing was going on? Leslie saying that she didn't have anything to do with Candus. La, la, la. Candus goes on cracking cases and then says that Leslie was supposed to put her flooring cabinets in and didn't show up that Saturday after Summer was gone. The thing that I want to say about what was said on Shay's channel today is just going to be two things. Maybe three. It seems to me that money is a hard thing for these people to hold on to for very long, like burns through their fingers. Okay? Jody Sue is on her chat begging for money all the time, little innuendos. And the other night she's like, I got this list, I gotta go out and get, for my son. I can't believe that they gave me a list, like, it is in school. You gotta go. I couldn't just go out and buy hand sanitizer, blah, blah, blah. Well, honey, I'm gonna tell you that's bullshit. because the military pays for everything that you need. When you go into boot camp, you go in your boot camp almost like you're being naked, just born. Okay? They supply everything. You are government issue. And you're issued what you need. You lose it, you replace it. That's how that works. They also pay you to enlist. And they pay you to re-enlist. And they're large sums of money when they do. And why her chat keeps feeding her money is beyond me. If Jody Sue had wanted to move out of that camper or trailer or whatever you want to call it, she would have already moved. She's putting her money into her lips, her fingernails, her cigarettes, eating out, and not controlling her money correctly. Now let's speak about disability and how disability works, okay? Because I'm going to tell you from somebody that knows. If you haven't worked enough credits in a certain time frame, you cannot get Social Security disability. And there's a lot of people who are confused between supplemental security income, which is SSI, and Social Security disability. You have to work so many credits in such amount of time in order to get Social Security disability. Supplemental security income is a far smaller amount of money. Okay? People who have disability can apply for both disability and SSI. But people who haven't worked that amount of time can only get SSI. And it's not to support you completely, it's to supplement. Okay? You are automatically qualified for food stamps and Medicaid. And when you have Medicaid, you don't have to pay for your doctors but $3 to $6, depending on the doctor, right? Your medications, $3. And here lately, they're not even charging for the medications. So I don't know what's up with that, okay? I'm not going to complain. But I asked about SSI. I don't believe that she's on disability, is what I'm saying. I believe she's on SSI. I also believe that she's probably receiving food stamps. So she's got 2 kids, okay? The one is an adult, but he's still considered qualified to get food stamps under her name until he's 23 years of age. He's not 23. So when she has SSI or disability, she's approved automatically for food stamps through the Social Security Administration. However, if she was smart, and she is, and wily, she would go down to social services and apply for herself and her children, especially during COVID when you got big time food stamps, okay? So that would mean that she gets most likely food stamps for herself and her 2 kids. Okay, now her son's gone. I doubt very seriously that she's going to report he's gone, because that's just the way people like that do. Candus made sure to tell everybody, she didn't get no help. But Jody Sue wanted us all to believe that she did. But Candus didn't even want to take her kids to the doctors because she didn't have what? Medicaid. Because she didn't want social services in her business. Okay, so I don't know if Jody Sue has that, but food stamp people don't come to your house. Medicaid people don't come to your house. So that doesn't really make much sense. Okay, you just have to report your earnings. Jody Sue wasn't married to Andy. So all she had to say was that she was living there with the 2 kids. You know, she could have racked in the food stamps and blah, blah, blah. And the reason why I'm saying this is because in that call today that Shay aired, it was mentioned of $14,000 back pay. Okay. Hang on one second. I want to look at my note real quick. Oh, Shay had said, you know, it could have come from, you know, she could have got it from, because she was just saying that, you know, that you can get, she wasn't saying that Jody Sue got, she was saying that you can get emergency Social Security. Like if you got cancer and you go in the hospital for something major, and they will do that. They will approve you for that particular time and then you're off. Okay. But she wouldn't have gotten a $14,000 back pay check for something like that. You only get back pay from applying. So, in other words, let me give you an example. If I was, can you still hear me, guys? If I was to apply for SSI today or disability, and they denied me, and then say 6 months from now, you know, I go back and I apply again, or I get a lawyer, you know, those pro bono lawyers that work for you. And, you know, he works my case and he gets a percentage. And then, you know, you got to go before the judge. You have to have documentation from your doctors and all this. And all this takes time. Okay. So finally, when you get in front of a judge, it's usually about a year, year and a half. Some people get moved along faster depending on, you know, what their ailments are. And so by the time you get in front of a judge, it's usually about a year, year and a half. That's about how much it would total up to get to 14, you know, as far as month-wise, year-wise, to $14,000 back pay. Okay. So that money that she got, hang on one second, guys. Sorry, guys. That person calling me was my daughter-in-law trying to schedule an appointment for her elderly aunt and wanting to make sure that I wasn't going to have an appointment, you know, already for myself for the end of this week. And so, anyway, what I was saying is the $14,000 would have been back pay from when she first applied and had been denied. That's how that works. That's why it's called back pay. Now, whatever they did with the money is not my business and I don't care. And the only reason why I'm mentioning it is because she received that money. You know, once you're on disability, you know, it's every so many years you get reinstated, you know, it's not a hard process. The hard process is getting approved in the first place. It's not a hard process to stay on it. I do not believe that Jody Sue is not on it any longer at all. Now, what she would have to do and is supposed to do, maybe isn't doing, and that's not my business either. But I'm going to explain it to the ones so that they understand, because I've seen people speak about it in chats. She's supposed to report all income. Now, I asked if she was still on it, and I was told that they thought the check had stopped. Well, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And we saw her putting on Doug's channel everything in her son's name, right? As far as cash apps and stuff. Now, it's listed now, in terms that would sound like it's not in a man's name. Doesn't mean it's not. It doesn't mean she's reporting it. She can work and still be on SSI or disability. They just deduct it from your check if you report it. Fraud comes into play when you don't report it. That's how that works. So I just wanted to put that one out there as far as that goes. And when I was talking about earlier about people giving Jody Sue and Andy leeway and being nervous to say anything, you know what I mean? Now, I mean, people fired off some hardballs at him on, his call-ins, question and answers, and I commend him for that. I wouldn't have done it. There's no way I would have put myself out there and did that. Don did it, but what was Don doing it for? Don was doing it to try to find his kid, allegedly. I can't see why Don would have subjected himself to all that bullshit that he went through, both on Facebook and, most importantly, YouTube, if he's not an innocent guy trying to find his kid. With his wife screaming in the background all the time. And he's trying to talk to these. I mean, you can want attention. You could be getting off on that attention, whatever. But there's going to be you're going to figure out, hey, man, I'm not looking good, But he kept doing it. He kept doing it. Even while his wife is trying to beat a door down, he still tried. So there's a difference. But he wasn't afforded the opportunity to everybody to be kind to him and careful when throwing out. I mean, people were in chats, just, same thing with Candus. You killed your daughter, where's Summer? Da, 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 da. See what I'm saying? See the difference? Now, granted, Andy and Jody Sue don't have a missing daughter, thank God. But there is a difference. If it hadn't have been for Jody Sue doing what she's done all this time, we wouldn't know that she's a liar, that she gave out misinformation to Don, and that almost everything that Don went to YouTube with and said in regards that we thought maybe was coming from the law was actually coming from the neighbor lady from across the road. I am not willing to give anyone total freedom in what I think about them. I'm not willing to say, like I said, until law enforcement comes out and says who did what. I can't say that any one of those people are innocent. I think they're all well versed. And like I said, you guys, I've lived a colorful life. It's not like I'm some Sunday school marm over here on the other side of the screen. I got some age on me now. You know what I mean? But like Cam said in one of his lives just recently, I can call bullshit when I see it. And I know what to look for. And I know when I hear it. Now, why that bullshit is out there, I don't know. And that's what making me look. You're going to make me look even harder. And this is to me, to Andy. The best thing you could do is just stop, Andy. because you're not going to get anywhere but more questions, and people are going to ask you questions. That's what you came on YouTube to do, was to answer questions. And it don't matter how many times you answer. They're going to ask them again to see if they trip you up. Okay? I've only asked a few questions of you in any chat because I felt awkward holding a wrench. You might want to take that wrench from me, love. Okay? I'm not going to use it. I'll go in your chat, and if it's still there, that's fine. If somebody's beating you up, I'll still take up for you. I'll still do what I'm supposed to do because that's the kind of person I am. I'm just that way. I'm not out for your blood, but I am going to ask questions. I'm going to give you the same advice that I gave Jody Sue. You need to stop. Jody Sue should have stopped months and months and months ago. I'm thankful she didn't, because if she hadn't, I would still be looking at Dawn and Candus in the way that I used to look at them. And I still look at Candus, and I still look at Dawn. But I'm not willing to say that Andy wasn't there that day. I'm not willing to say he's a great person. I only have a few lives to base it on and the little bit of communication we've had in private. Like I said, if I were in his shoes, I'd be careful what the hell I said too. I did warn him that there was a lot of people out there that didn't like Jody Sue, and that they will treat him some way so that they can get to her. Like I said, you can only help people that are willing to listen to you. And that's all I can say about Andy. And the clip that I was going to play, which I'm not going to even bother now, on Andy, was him talking. Hang on, I'm going to go ahead and play it. Here you go. Oh, wait a minute. I don't need to go there, baby. Let me go back to StreamYard. Okay, hang on one second, guys.
Prescribed painkillers with JC prescribed painkillers.
Hang on.
Hello?
Hi, Andy.
Hello.
This is Tiffany.
Hey, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to ask you, Adrian had asked, well, along the lines of what I wanted to ask you, and I need to elaborate, but first, would you just tell me, if you remember, do you recall the 2 nights leading up to Summer's disappearance? Do you recall Sophie being around Candus and Tiff?
Let's see, she got
before.
Okay, there was one night, let's see, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday.
It's okay, take your time.
From Saturday to Monday night, at some point in time, she was over there with me, yes. Or possibly without me while I was gone. I don't know.
All right, so the instance that she was there with you, were you just...
Now, I'm bringing that up because I want you to go back and listen to the Amber Moon video that I told you in the beginning of the series, and the things that I've said concerning that video. And let's continue.
just stop in there real quick to drop something off to John and Candus, or were you hanging out, or?
Like I said, I never hung out with them.
Okay.
It was always just a drop and go situation.
Okay.
They're not my type of people.
Okay.
Now, remember the lives where Jody Sue was saying that Andy was hanging up on the hill after they all moved out of there, and it, wasn't too long ago that she was saying that, but she was also at that time insinuating that there was something going on between Candus and Andy at the time, making it sound that way. And I think, again, she was trying to cause trouble between Becca and Andy, any way she could do it, kind of thing. Jose said that he knew Andy, but he didn't know Jody Sue. Okay. I have suspicions. Oh, I really hate to even say this, but I believe business was ran during the day while Andy was at work. I believe the mailbox was watched and a place to place items as well. I don't believe that Jody Sue was the one that walked down the hill. The little drug place that was across the street was where people got high. So when she mentions the pipe, the meth pipe, I really don't lend credence to that, because it's very possible that, it came from someone else, and she's trying to make Dawn look like, and he was just like, oh, wow, and she's acting like, she didn't know what in the hell she picked up, yet she could tell you how many times it was fired up. Okay, let's listen.
I mean, I can't remember why I was over there exactly. It was either one of two things. My black and white pit had run off, or the black and white husky had run off. And
now remember, Andy wanted Jody Sue to shut up about the dogs. Okay, remember that? And we all thought at the time that, he were talking about the Wells dogs. Jody Sue has constantly said, the Wells dogs were partly her dogs. And while I'm on that subject, when she sits there and tries to put out that the reason why they never found Summer is because, everybody complained and got the Humane Society to remove those dogs. If those dogs were going to be the key, so to speak, they would have been the key already, because it took a long time for those dogs to get taken off the hill. And Jody Sue had males unneutered. So she was just as guilty for all of those dogs that were rambling around in that area. When you got a pet that you're going to let roam, you have to fix it, or you are the problem, because a female can't get pregnant on her own. Now here, when Crystal Crime Time was doing all the videos, about the dogs, and it was Jody Sue's dog, right? And everybody was talking about Reaper and the dogs and animals that were killed and died, and all the many, many deaths of the many, many animals that's been in Jody Sue's care. He's getting ready to tell you about these two animals, okay? One's a pit, one's a husky. He tells you the husky's with him, but he doesn't tell you what happened with the pit.
One of the dogs would go, or I would run over. It very seldom would be I run over there for anything, but
Yeah. So
one of two things: dogs, or taking them a couple grams of pot or something every now and then.
What would you normally take them?
Just weed, a gram, like a gram.
All right. I'm not really interested in the drug aspect. The only reason why, I would have any issues with that is I have no problem with weed, you know. Jody Sue said that he was sedating the kids, basically. That he was providing drugs to Candus and the kids in order to sedate so that the little kids, could be touched. And then you've got Hunter over there talking about an Andy on the hill touching, trying to touch. And then apparently Candus doesn't rush home. So, and then when Cam was like, the sun was running up on the hills, the 110 and was chased off, and it was, Candus was like, he's okay here. All that kind of makes me wonder. When you look at the dog trail that Jody Sue calls a pathway, you can tell that that was traveled by more than just dogs. And it was traveled often, and there's a lot of kids on that hill, and they could have went up and down there many times a day. Do I believe that these two sets of parents were lazy enough to not go back and forth to do their own dealings? Yes, I do. And I think that's what Jody Sue is insinuating, right? When she says it, so that it's partly the truth and partly not. It's just how it's worded. Y'all get what I'm trying to say there? All right, let's go on to the next one.
With you.
The day that she got gone or the day before?
The day she disappeared.
I didn't, the day she got gone, I didn't know she was gone until I got in from work.
Right.
So she didn't say nothing to me before I got home or anything like that about Summer being gone.
Now, see right here, if you look, you'll see a little orange there in the chat. You can see that I asked the question. I never had him ever answer a question I asked. Not once.
Okay.
But when I came in, the end of the holler is when I found out that Summer was missing that day.
Okay, yeah, because she had made a statement that
I'm going to play that one again, guys.
that day with you.
The day that she got gone or the day before?
The day she disappeared.
I didn't, the day she got gone, I didn't know she was gone until I got in from work.
Right.
So she didn't say nothing to me before I got home or anything like that about Summer being gone.
Okay.
But when I came in, the end of the holler is when I found out that Summer was missing that day.
Okay, yeah, because she had made a statement that
Kiko, the orange part that I showed you, that I pointed out that's in the chat on Andy's chat, that's actually just somebody saying, that I was doing a good job modding because I was removing, I'm not even sure I modded on that one that much. I don't think I did. But on the lives before that, I removed a ton of of comments concerning his daughter. Liplock can attest to that, right, Liplock? Because I removed yours. And because I felt that, it was going to give Jody Sue what she was looking for to take to court to use against him. And at that time, I wasn't sure if Jody Sue's daughter was wanting to be with her dad and was being, held back by her mom. And it's not my place to get involved in that aspect of their life. But if I was in a chat, I would want somebody to do that for me. And so I explained that to Andy, and I told him that that was the only thing that I had removed. And that's when I asked him what was his rules. Did he, he never gave them to me. I asked him again another time, please, let me know. And, he answered my questions, but they were very short and sweet. And, I never was given any rules. And then he said that he would start his lives and say anything goes. So, I just stopped basically modding. And then the last ones, he had Krama and CSI. And the one of them that I was doing that one night was just me by myself because he didn't notify CSI. And I guess he didn't notify Scott. I sent Scott a message and told him that he was on, but I thought CSI was in the background being one of the ninja mods, because I saw a message get deleted that I didn't delete. And the other mod that normally mods was at work that night. So I was doing basically all the modding that night. And then afterwards, like I said, Chroma Mama, Gavel Geeks, and a few others had been listed as mods. And so I just stopped modding. He had plenty of mods, and I didn't know what in the heck to start deleting because things that they were talking on the phone was the same stuff that was coming across in chat. And I was like, well, okay, I guess. And Krama and Gavel and all of them have a far better relationship with him than I do. So, I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm just going to listen from now on. But yeah, I did ask a few questions in his lives, or I would respond to somebody. And I can't recall now what, I'd have to go back and look. I can't recall what my questions were, but I do know that they were not answered. And anything that I said to him and tagged him in, he didn't respond. And of course, he's new, but he ran his life pretty darn good for somebody that was new, so.
That day was.
Oh, sorry, I already played that one. I don't think I've played this one yet.
I'm great. How are you?
All right.
I want to say thanks first and foremost for opening up this opportunity to speak with you.
That's fine.
I just have some pointed questions.
I want you to pay attention here. And just a minute ago when we were listening, he was saying that he didn't get told about Summer until he got to the end of the hollow. Okay.
I wanted to ask.
Okay, that's cool. Hold on 1 second before you start.
No problem.
I've been trying, somebody's been calling in, and every time I pick up, you can evidently not hear me or something along that line.
No, that's not me.
No, it's some other number. I can't remember it. There's some money coming in.
Hi, Mystic. I'm sorry I didn't catch you and David and everybody else. I'm Belinda. I cannot watch the chat and keep track today. On medication, my brain is just not there today. So Jody Sue played Shay's call. Is that what you're saying? I had a feeling. I did check Jody Sue to see if she was online, alive during Shay's call, but I didn't see her on. So she's playing it. I figured somebody would, get it to her if she didn't Thank you, Lip Lock. If she, if she hadn't seen it, but usually she's asleep around this time. I pretty much know her waking and sleeping hours after all the months that I recuperated watching her.
But okay, carry on.
Okay, so my first question is, when you came in from work that day, the story's been told that Dawn was at the shed. If Dawn was at the shed, and the way the story has been told.
Oh, Jody Sue didn't play the tape. I mean, the phone. At least I didn't hear her play it. I just checked. Fast forward through. Okay, thank you, CSI. She's in her truck doing a live. Mystic, did she play the phone call that Shay played today? Or are you talking about the phone call that Andy did? I mean, the live that Andy did. Mystic. Okay, let's go ahead with this, guys.
You came in first, then Dawn was basically immediately right after you.
Okay, thank you, Mystic. I wanted to make sure so that I didn't confuse anyone. I'm going to start this over, guys, because he didn't like this lady too well, okay?
Calling in, and every time I pick up, you can evidently not hear me or something along that line.
Yeah, that's not me.
No, it's some other number. I can't remember it. There's some money coming in. But okay, carry on.
Okay, so my first question is, when you came in from work that day, the story's been told that Dawn was at the shed. If Dawn was at the shed, and the way the story has been told, you came in first, then Dawn was basically immediately right after you. But if Dawn was at the shed, that would have meant that you would have passed him at that shed. My question for you is, did you see Dawn at the shed when you came in?
Okay. If I was coming from Kingsport, I would not pass that shed before I turned in the holler.
Okay, then.
Now notice what he just said. This is what I'm saying. You got to listen to what's not being answered when people ask the questions. He's saying, if I was coming from Kingsport, I wouldn't have passed the shed. He didn't say he passed anybody. He didn't answer what she asked. He didn't even say if he came that direction. This is why I can't give him all the leeway that everyone else is doing. I wish I could. I would love to be able to strike these people off my list so much, because I want Summer found. That's all I care about. If that child is laying out there somewhere, I can't, I can't. So he didn't answer. And then remember what I said about Jody Sue saying where he was supposed to have met up with Candus. What he's saying here, and when he, just all of it, if you write down every statement that he's made and look at it, you'll see what I'm talking about. You can't do that with Jody Sue because there's just been too much. You can't do that with Dawn. Well, you can pretty much. And same with Candus. Andy hasn't been on long enough. But what he has said, he hasn't said, if you really look at it.
my question from there is, when you came in and pulled in, how long after you came in did Dawn come in?
I don't really remember. I know I'm pretty sure I was there and then seen Donnie. You know what I mean? He might have been there before me. I don't know. I don't think so. But
Okay.
when
There's a Jody Sue. Could have been this way. Immediately could have been that way. I don't know. You see what I'm saying?
got there, I'm pretty sure I seen it was like the Don at the end of the road, Donnie, and then like maybe Candus or Jody Sue, or I really don't remember how.
And right there is when my eyelids came down. I might have seen Jody Sue and Candus, can't remember. He does remember. And people are playing games.
How that went on, because there was like quite a few people strapped, in the holler at that point in time.
Okay, so if you don't mind, can you break down that timeline for me? So to run through it very clearly, to go from when you came in, like who told you Summer was missing? If it wasn't Jody, if it wasn't, who exactly was the person that said Summer's missing?
Okay, Shay's safe place, and she doesn't live in Tennessee, and I don't want to say where Shay lives, but she doesn't live in Tennessee.
I can't remember that. I don't know. I have no clue.
Was it law enforcement? Was it?
No, the cops was there shortly after me too. I mean, they went in law there before me.
Because the way, and the reason I ask is because the way Jody describes it, and I haven't heard you describe it.
Now, this lady was getting, people in the chat didn't really care for this woman, and I'm going to start the whole thing over again right here. Because what this woman asked would have been questions I would have asked if he hadn't have been me and I didn't have a wrench and all of that. And I would have asked even harder questions. And if you don't believe me, y'all, you can go to Jonathan Lee Riches and look at one of the posts I made on Jonathan, because he was talking to Becca at the time. And I posted, ask these questions. And you can look and see some of the questions that I would have asked. So I'm going to start again. I want you to pay close attention to this one.
Up this opportunity to speak with you.
That's fine.
I just have some pointed questions I wanted to ask.
Okay, that's cool. Hold on 1 second before you start.
No problem.
I've been trying. Somebody's been calling in, and every time I pick up, you can evidently not hear me, or something along that line.
Selena, I don't think that Andy's being truthful about his interactions with the Wells. And I can't say that I blame him. He has to be careful what he says so that he doesn't incriminate himself for many reasons. But in that case, he shouldn't have been on YouTube, because if he can't answer any of the questions, then he doesn't need to be on YouTube. And if he doesn't want to talk crap on Jody Sue, then he doesn't need to be on YouTube. And if you take all of that away, then it just means he was there for money. Okay? And that's the only way I can look at this point. After his communications with my grandson's knocking on my door. I'll be out in a few minutes, guys. Not now, Sam. And so let me see. Let me scroll up a little bit here. Cheryl, you said that he must have been really stoned. Well, he supposedly just got off work. So, weed's only going to make you so high. And, he explained away last night that, it could be that he, might have some issues similar to my grandson, in fact. And if so, then he's really high functioning, and there's a lot of high functioning people out there. Can it be used as an excuse? Yeah. Could it be used to for many reasons? I'm just not going to go there. Okay, I'm not going to sit there and say, because I don't know him. I can't sit there and point my finger and say that's all BS. Now I can at Jody Sue because I've watched her for 15 months. I can tell you what personality issues that woman has. I cannot tell you that with him. I can't say anything. I haven't watched him enough other than to know that he's evading. Definitely evading. And whatever reason he's evading, I can't say. But it's definitely there.
That's not me.
No, it's some other number. I can't remember if there's some money coming in. But okay.
I need to
carry on.
Okay, so my first question is, when you came in from work that day, the story's been told that Dawn was at the shed. If Dawn was at the shed, and the way the story has been told, you came in first, then Dawn was basically immediately right after you. But if Doc was at the shed, that would have meant that you would have passed him at that shed. My question for you is, did you see Dawn at the shed when you came in?
Okay. If I was coming from Kingsport, I would not pass that shed before I turned in the holler. Okay.
Then my question from there is, when you came in and pulled in, how long after you came in did Dawn come in?
I don't really remember. I know I'm pretty sure I was there and then seen Donnie. You know what I mean? He might have been there before me. I don't know. I don't think so. But okay, when I got there, I'm pretty sure I seen it was like
Andy, don't
the
say
Dawn
that
at the end of the road, Donnie,
in my
and
chat,
then like maybe Candus or Jody Sue, or
okay.
I really don't remember how that went on because there was like quite a few people strapped, in the holler at that point in time.
Okay, so if you don't mind, can you break down that timeline for me? So to run through it very clearly, to go from when you came in, like who told you Summer was missing? If it wasn't Jody, if it wasn't, who exactly was the person that said Summer's missing?
I can't remember that. I don't know. I have no clue.
Was it law enforcement? Was it?
No, the cops was there shortly after me too. I mean, they went and law.
See, right there, he just said he can't remember who told him that Summer was missing. He doesn't have a clue.
There before me.
Because the way, and the reason I ask is because the way Jody describes it, and
Green Eyes is in my chat. Hi, Green Eyes. Where you at, buddy? All right, Green Eyes, if you're going to come in my chat, have the balls to show yourself. Because, that's how I play. And if you ain't got the balls to show yourself, and then, you need to go on. Because evidently you got me blocked too. Because I'm scrolling through my chat and I don't see you. That's a pussy thing to do. Just saying. So whoever you are, you're welcome in my chat. You control yourself and you show yourself. And that's just the way it is. So you need to unblock and come back and let's start again. All right? Do we understand each other now? See, I don't play that way. Just so we know, just so the lines are drawn, I ain't done nothing to you. And you shouldn't be in my chat doing that kind of crap. Okay? Makes me think that you're Jody Sue or affiliated with Jody Sue. Because other than that, there'd be no reason for you to be in my chat blocking people. Get it? Everybody already thinks you are anyway. Or one of her kids, or one of her family members, or something like that. And I'm just going to say right now, I'm not going to waste my time on you, dude. Like I said, it's a pussy thing to do. If you got balls, come out, show yourself. You're in other people's chat. I see you. Why are you afraid to be in my chat and let people see you? That's bullshit. Yeah. I ain't got time to waste on pussies. That's just all I'm going to say about that, dude.
And I haven't heard you describe it, is that she says, hey, Summer's missing, and you say, I know. So it's kind of confusing on how you knew, because you say you didn't hear from Jody that day.
Annie, I don't think you're green eyes, honey. Not at all.
And
now back up. Back up. Repeat what you just said.
The way Jody describes it is that you pull in, she said you, Summer's missing, and you say, I know. But it's never clarified on how you knew Summer was missing that day. And she says she didn't speak to you. You said you didn't speak to her. So how did you know Summer was missing? If you didn't hear it from Jody, she didn't say it to you, you didn't hear it from her. How did you know before you ever got there?
Well, I didn't know before I got there. So but I might have known before I got to Jody Sue. You know, if she was in the holler and I seen somebody at the end of the holler.
All right, let's just get to the bottom of this. Who is David and Annie? It's the same account. All right, hang on a minute. CSI, you got a wrench. Can you look and see if you can see Green Eyes real quick? Block his ass. I gave him time. I don't have time for chicken shit. This David Cohen's been in my chat lately. I don't know a thing about him. I can't see him. There he is. Oh, wait a minute. Can't do that. Oh, dude. I'll fix this shit real quick, too. Hi, George. Didn't see you. Scrolling through my chat right now. All right. Bye, David. All right, let's continue, guys. Like I said, CSI, if you see green eyes, block them. Now, I'm going to start this back again to right here.
Like the Don at the end of the road, Donnie, and then like maybe Candus or Jody Sue, or I really don't remember how that went on because there was like quite a few people strapped, in the holler at that point in time.
Okay, so if you don't mind, can you break down that timeline for me? So to run through it very clearly, to go from when you came in, like who told you Summer was missing? If it wasn't Jody, if it wasn't, who exactly was the person that said Summer's missing?
I can't remember that. I have no clue.
That's fine. I didn't really care for what David was saying in the chat. I was just letting it go because I'm nice. Most of the time. As y'all see, I bite. And I bite hard when I bite. That's why I don't like confrontation, because I don't have any time for bullshit. And I won't play it. I just won't. Just won't. Green Eyes had time. If he's still in my chat, he had time to come out. I don't have any reason to block him, but I have no idea what he's saying in my chat. And I don't appreciate that. I already said how I feel about it. I'm not going to repeat myself. If he's back in my chat, then block him. Don't time him out. Just block him. That's it. Done.
Was it law enforcement? Was it?
No, the cops was there shortly after me too. I mean, they went in law there before me.
Because the way, and the reason I ask is because the way Jody describes it, and I haven't heard you describe it, is that she says, "Hey, Summer's missing," and you say, "I know." So it's kind of confusing on how you knew, because you say you didn't hear from Jody that day. And
now back up, back up, repeat what you just said.
The way Jody describes it is that you pull in, she said you Summer's missing, and you say I know. But it's never clarified on how you knew Summer was missing that day.
See, I love that. You see how she just did that? She asked the question. He didn't answer her the way he's supposed to answer, but she asked another question, and then she came back around again, right? Every question that this lady was asking were good questions. But for her to ask those questions makes her look bad in Andy's chat. You see what I mean? And then, it's really hard to be somebody that's asking those kind of questions. Cam is speaking of that in his live today about asking questions of Andy and Andy's reaction to him. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say. If you're going to be on YouTube and you're putting yourself out there You have to be willing to answer the questions. You have to be willing to answer them multiple times by multiple people and not get mad. Jody Sue can't handle that. Yet she sits there every day. What does she do? She just blocks you right away. You know what I mean? Oh, you asked me how I'm feeling today? Block. You know. Okay, let's go back to this.
And it's, she, you know, she says she didn't speak to you. You said you didn't speak to her. So how did you know Summer was missing if you didn't hear it from Jody? She didn't say it to you. You didn't hear it from her. How did you know?
Now, see his expression.
Before you ever got there.
Well, I didn't know before I got there.
Right.
So
But I might have known before I got to Jody Sue.
There you go. But I might have known before I got to Jody Sue. He's answering, but he's not answering. You see where I'm coming from, you guys? This is what I'm saying. This is exactly why I'm having an issue. And I'm not trying to pick on Andy. I'm just saying I have issues.
You know, if she was in the holler and I seen somebody at the end of the holler, somebody might have told me before I actually got to her telling me.
There he is again. He's still avoiding answering the question. He just avoided twice. And it was simple. I saw Candus. That was the answer. So why? Unless he was withholding for LE purposes, I can't make no sense out of why he didn't answer that question, other than he was possibly protecting the fact that Candus wasn't on the hill at the time, or he couldn't remember what he told LE, or whatever reason. You see what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. But let's continue.
So like a neighbor or...
Yeah, somebody else in the road on the way in.
Somebody.
You know, I met somebody at the end of the road that stopped me that evening. I don't remember who it was.
I met somebody in the road that stopped me. I can't remember who it was.
But they told me that Summer was missing. But I don't remember where I read.
And I believe at this time I'm writing in the chat what Jody Sue had said. I'd have to go back and double check. But I know I've written it in many, many chats, and I'm pretty darn sure I wrote it in Andy's.
Ran into Jody Sue finally at.
Okay. So, and about what time did you get there?
6:20 something, 6:30 something.
Okay. So we, and then how far after the time frame that you got there did you see Candus leave?
I don't honestly remember.
There you go again. I don't remember.
Okay, because again, the story is that Candus left, and that's, I mean, again, this is all from Jody. So,
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure I remember Candus being in her mom's truck at some point in time, kind of driving in and out the holler, looking for Summer, hollering, or drove down the road or something.
Okay. And then from that point on, about how long did it take for long?
So I think that he changed it up right there because she kept going. You see what I mean? And maybe he saw what I wrote in chat. I don't know. It's just
Enforcement to show up.
I don't know.
I can't.
It doesn't have to be exact, but ballpark.
They've never said.
It wasn't too long after I got home that the law showed up, or at least one carload of law showed up.
Would you say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour?
It wasn't no hour. It was probably under 30 minutes that they showed up. Probably 10, 15 minutes.
10, 15 minutes? Okay. Now,
See, I have a little bit of issue too, because I don't know how much communication Andy has had with other creators. where he would have information that he might not have had prior. You see what I'm saying? So let's just use Andy versus Jody Sue. So if Jody Sue didn't have anybody, you see what I mean, in the beginning, like that. Now, she did have some people communicating with her because she's shown the creators that were communicating with her, but it wasn't in a similar manner. Creators, including myself, were helping Andy. You know, I don't mean like Jody Sue says, okay? Like we were working for Andy, or, you know, we're trying to get his kid away from her or anything like that. I can't speak for other creators, but I wasn't like that. I offered him advice as far as, I guess you could say, what I would do legally if I was in his shoes. Okay. That's the kind of advice that I offered. And now whether or not he did it, I don't know. Because like I said to you, it was very limited contact back. And that's okay. I wasn't looking to become friends with Andy. You know, it would have been nice to be acknowledged a little bit, you know, but I'm not angry that he didn't. I don't care, you know. I still communicate with Andy just like I would have originally. And I hope he understands that I'm looking at him in the same way that I've looked at everybody else, because I don't know him. You know, I have no idea. I don't have any idea that he's telling the truth of anything, no more that I know that anyone else is telling the truth in anything. And just because he appears to be a nice guy doesn't tell me anything. Okay? Just because he doesn't act like Jody Sue yet doesn't tell me anything. You know? So I can't say. I do have concerns about how he has answered what he has answered. I do understand that creators would, you know, that are wanting to communicate with him wouldn't ask really hardball questions, because you don't want to lose the interview. I mean, look at PG. When she had him on and she attacked him immediately, I was pissed off at PG that night. I was like, God, girl, you finally got him on your channel and then you rip him a new one and then he's gone. You know, how well did you do on that? That didn't work very well. You know, I can't wait for Dawn to get out. I hope Dawn comes on my channel. I really do. You know, I hope he does so when he's not around Candus, because I don't have the patience for that kind of crap. You know, I just don't. Would I put up with it to have the interview? Heck yeah, I would. You know, would it be a free interview? Heck yeah. I'm not paying nobody for nothing. I don't make money on my channel. I ain't paying nobody for nothing. So when Jody Sue says that everybody's paying everybody in the background, there ain't nobody paying me a cent. And I'm not paying anyone else a cent. I am not going to give anyone any money on YouTube. I gave money and I regret it. So let's continue with this.
Other question for you is, after you got home that day and did you get out of your car, start looking?
Yeah.
Okay. And then where did you look?
It's been 14 months ago. I don't know. I know I went looking around my property close to the bottom of the hill. I mean, I don't really remember.
Okay. I mean, I'm not asking for like exact, like pinpoint areas. I'm just generalizing.
Love your name.
Yeah.
So, like, did you look on Don and Candus's property? Did you look in the, you know, just on your property, or, you know, help other neighbors look on their property?
I remember eventually going up around the bank over there at Don and Candus's, but I don't know at what point in time that was.
Okay. Did you see Don and Candus looking?
Yeah, I mean, Candus was looking. Yeah, we was all pretty much everybody looking.
Okay.
I mean, I remember seems like right after the law got there, they was up there talking to the law and not looking. But
Okay. Now moving on from that day.
I believe I know who was doing that call-in. I'm just not going to say. I recognize the voice. She's pretty slick. I'm just going to say that. All right, wait, one more. I think I've got one more. I hope I don't repeat one here. Nope, that's it. And then I've got the rest of Tiffany's that are like 15 minutes in total if I don't talk a lot through them, and I'm sure I will. So it'd probably be about another hour or so. My back is killing me now between my shoulder blades, and I need a cigarette. And I didn't mean for this live to go as long as it did. Sorry I showed my butt towards Green Eyes. Not sorry, but sorry that you guys had to listen to it. Because like I said, my rules in my chat is everyone is welcome. Okay, even Jody Sue's welcome in my chat. She blocks me all the time, unblocks me. Even she's welcome in my chat. I respect everyone as long as they respect me. Okay. I want everybody to treat one another like you're in my house. So if you come in my house and you lift your leg and you start peeing on my wall, then, I'm going to act accordingly. If you come into my chat and block everybody, then I'm just going to call you out for what you are. Okay? And if you like running around being like that, then, it's pitiful. Stand on your own two legs. And if you got something to say it. I'm sure Andy ain't right with me right now. I'm not going to apologize for anything I've said today. It's how I feel. I'm looking to try to help find a little girl. He said last night, this is supposed to be about Summer Wells. And it is. And this is about Summer Wells that I discussed today. And like I said, I want everybody to be respectful to each other. We're all adults and we can do it. We don't have, I don't care what kind of issues you have on other channels and how you behave on other channels. And I don't care what, what you've said to each other before or after. But when you come into my house, please respect me and be kind to one another. It's only going to be for a short amount of time and you can go back to acting. If you need to, just ghost the other person out, pretend they're not there. Roll your eyes, whatever in your head. I do it all the time. There's lots of people that, I don't agree with, or even some people that I don't like. But, it's what I'm asking you to do. So if you respect me and you like me as a person, please do that for me. And so I'm gonna close this, guys. I thank you all. Love you both, Annie and CSI. Okay. We're all here for summer, and that's what's important. And if you see Green Eyes in my chat, please tell me, both of you, everyone. All right. Because I'll find a way. There's a lot of people that's got me blocked. I see them in other people's chats. Do I have anyone blocked? No. Well, right now I do because I just blocked one person. But, that's just the way it is. Some reason they want to block people so that they can't be modded so they can come in and talk shit. Well, if you're going to talk shit, stand on your own 2 feet and talk it. That's all I ask. And then I get to decide. So if you're chicken and you don't want to stand on your own 2 feet, then it is what it is. You're a chicken shit. That's all we can expect from you if you're chicken shit. So anyway, love you all. And I'll be working tonight on another file that I'll be uploading as a video because it's on my phone and there's no way that I can do a live with it. I want to clear off my phone first and then start working on the ones that I have on USB. Like I said, there's going to be errors because I don't want to take the time to it. I hate doing it where you got to type in the text on the videos. I hate it. I hate the length of time it takes me to do that. And I wish we could just upload them as they are. I find it ridiculous that we can't, but that's my opinion. And so, I really want to get these things out. And so, love you guys. Hi, Diamond, Diana, Melissa, and anybody else that I missed during this live today. I'm sorry, and I apologize. And thank you for listening to me. And I'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.